What's up guys, this is Balash from Racing Brick. The brand new Technic sets from 2020 are here. Let's have a look at the 42109 app control Top Gear rally car first. This car is an interesting one. It has the branding of the famous BBC car show Top Gear. We can also see the show's mysterious driver, the Stig, on the box. As the name says, the car is app controlled. You need a smartphone or a tablet with the Control Plus application for remote control. On the back there's a brief presentation of the features and some highlights of the app. There's a full-size stick here. Unfortunately he's only present on the box and in the form of stickers. I think LEGO missed a great opportunity here to bring back the Technic figures and have a stick one included in the set. You saw my version on the cover photo. Unfortunately that's only Photoshop. LEGO did not create a white Technic figure yet. Some technical details are on the side of the box. We get the Technic medium hub with an XL motor for driving and an L motor for steering. As you see, there's no remote, or only official option is the Control Plus application. Now let's see what's inside. The set has only 463 pieces. The price is 130 euros or dollars. That's quite a lot. In this price range we usually get Technic sets that has at least 1000 pieces, although they are not fully remote controlled. Honestly, I'm not even sure when was the last time when LEGO made a remote control Technic car that was not an off-roader. With less than 500 pieces we don't get a lot of things in the box. There are 4 unnumbered bags, the manual, the sticker sheet and another cardboard box with the electronic parts. The manual has 2 pages about the Stig, but honestly we won't get to know much about him. It only helps if you don't know the show or the character at all. There are some other hints here and there in the instructions about him, but this whole Top Gear and Stig branding feels like an afterthought, and the car otherwise has zero connection to the show. The most important new piece is the new differential. It is 3 studs wide, has 5 of the small tank gears inside instead of 3, and it comes in 2 separate pieces that needs to be assembled. I'll do a separate video about it to compare it to the previous versions. You can click on the link above if it's already published. We also get the small wheel arch in white. Now there's a pretty good color selection available of this piece. So let's start building the car. The whole process should take less than an hour. You can even finish it quicker if you are an experienced builder. Applying the stickers will be probably the most time-consuming part since there are a lot of them. There are 2 big 7x11 frames in the set that we've already seen in the leap hair, serving as the chassis of the car. The new differential needs to be placed in the frame in the beginning of the build. Make sure you put the small gears inside correctly and check if the axles connected to them can be turned smoothly, otherwise the differential won't work and you need to disassemble the whole car to remove the differential. As you can see here, I had some issues first and I needed to reassemble the differential for a smooth operation. With the double bevel gear of the new differential, it is possible to drive it with parallel or perpendicular gears. In this car the XL motor is placed above the axle, parallel to the differential. The new 4-port Technic hub is a structural part of the build. With the new mounting holes it is basically the central part of the chassis. There's some reinforcement of the axles, and then we add the 36-tooth gear that drives the 28-tooth gear of the differential. This means the powered up XL motor, which is almost 2 times faster than the Power Functions XL motor, is even geared up here. I hope that gives the car some decent speed. There's another 7x11 frame added to the front, and we put in the L motor that serves here as a servo. We need to arrange the cables properly with the help of the color-coded cable holders. The steering assembly is not too complicated. Since the L motor does not have a 0 mark on it, we'll need to have a similar calibration sequence in the app that we saw in the 4x4 Extreme Off-Roader. The steering is still a critical point if we want to drive the car with any other application. So far only the Brick Controller 2 application offers a calibration sequence and the proper return to center steering with the new motors. We won't even find this option in the powered up application, unfortunately. Since the huge 4-port hub occupies the center of the car, the steering servo needed to be placed in the front, therefore we won't have any working fake engines that we usually see in the Technic cars. There is a simple imitation of the engine with a few pieces, but no moving parts here. Now we go back to the rear to assemble the roof. The part usage here as well is very simple. There are only common pieces used, and I think the piece count is kept at the bare minimum on purpose. This makes the building process very easy for younger kids as well, but I think the more experienced builders would like to see some more sophisticated techniques used. The rear section is complete now. We mostly use our sticker placement skills for this, although I have to say that the rear looks actually better than the front of the car. It replicates the lines of the previous Technic rally car in a smaller scale. After this we add the hood and the A-pillars, and then we continue with some panels on the side. The front is completed with the lights, and then all we have left are the wheels to add. As you can see, the size of the front and rear tires are different. This is not something common on real-life rally cars. I'll show you later what was the possible reason for this weird choice and how would it look like with the same size tires at the front and at the back. So here is the finished car in its full glory. I have to say that I've seen much nicer cars in this scale, and it really looks like a toy car with funny proportions and very few details. There are tons of stickers, but it's also a mixed bag. If we get a car with the Top Gear brand, then we would expect lots of references to the show, but all we have are different Stig and Top Gear labels. All the rest is the usual made-up race car livery by LEGO. The number 77 is probably a reference to the year when the show started, but that's all about the hidden references. If you find more, please let me know. The car is very small. It looked like a bare minimum shell to house the hub and the motors. If you put the Corvette next to it, you can see that the Corvette is actually longer, although the rally car is wider and a bit taller. As I mentioned previously, the car looks pretty funny with the different size tires. This configuration looked familiar to me, and there was actually a Technic car in 2014 with the exact same tire configuration. That was the 42022 Hot Rod. This is the B model of that car. Apart from the remote control features that I'll show you in a minute, the car has very little to offer. There's an opening hood and, well, that's all. Before starting the app, we need to add 6 AA batteries. Fortunately, the battery compartment is very easily accessible. The placement is pretty similar to a standard RC toy car. The Control Plus app now has 3 different profiles for the 3 remote controlled models introduced so far. At the first connection, there might be a request to update the firmware on the hub. That process takes roughly 3 minutes. You need to make sure that the 2 motors are connected to the proper ports. If any of them is disconnected or misplaced, then the app won't connect. Instead of giving you a hint about the wrong plugs, it will get stuck in this weird connection cycle, just like it did for the 2 other models. Once the firmware update is complete, the app connects to the hub and we can go through the calibration process that is required for a properly working steering. After that, there's an introduction of the control system. This steering setup is more designed for a smartphone, might be difficult to use on a bigger tablet. The forward and reverse controls are on the right, the steering is on the left. We can also switch between a manual and automatic transmission, but this only affects the controls in the app. As you saw during the build, there is no actual gearbox in the model. If we swipe the screen to the right, there is another control option. Here the gas and the brake is controlled by the 2 pedals at the bottom, and the steering is controlled by the orientation of the smart device. If you choose the manual transmission, the car will drive at max speed defined by the gear without the need of pushing the pedals. I noticed the weird bug that happens randomly. Sometimes the car will suddenly steer to the left or the right by itself. As you can see, you can't start the car at max speed. You need to go through the gears, and if you shift too quickly, then the car will still increase the speed at a much slower pace. There's also a handbrake that stops immediately the car. Controlling the car is pretty easy with the controls on the first screen, although the acceleration with the automatic transmission is really poor. For me, the steering was better with the steering wheel than with the gyro control. That one responds slowly, and I got the impression that the steering angle is not as good as with the other option. There are also some challenges to complete. We had something similar with the 4x4 Extreme Offroader as well, but I have the impression that this is supposed to be one of the main features of this set. You need to complete a race, which means you need to follow the on-screen instructions to go through a track. The car is on a small stand here, so the wheels are not touching the ground. Here you can see that the app uses the built-in gyroscope of the hub to detect motion, at least for the turns. If you drive forward, then the app accepts that one as completed without actual movement, but the turns will be only completed if the car actually turns. You can't cheat and go through the challenges without actually driving the car. The gyroscope is also used to detect crashes. If you crash the car, then you will get different virtual damages that you need to repair by tapping on the corresponding icon. Completing the challenges indoors is problematic for two reasons. First of all, you need a pretty big empty space, as the tracks are getting more complex by time and also bigger. But the main problem is that you can't really predict the course based on the graphics you see. When you are instructed to turn, you need to turn much more with the car in reality than you would expect based on the course visible on the screen. So the course you will have to complete has nothing to do at the end with the track you see in the app. As you saw, the acceleration with the Control Plus app is pretty bad and the top speed is not very high either. I wanted to see if this is the limitation of the app or that's all the performance that the hardware can deliver. So I built a second car for this with the same parts. The only difference is the lack of differential, since I only had one of that in the original set. To test the acceleration and the speed, we won't need the differential anyway, so it will be perfectly fine. The orange car is controlled here with the Brick Controller 2 app, and the original one is with the Control Plus app. The transmission is set to automatic here. You can see that there's a huge difference. With the gear shifting simulation, the acceleration is very bad. If both cars are controlled with Brick Controller 2, then you can see that there's no difference between the speed and acceleration. All limitations are in the Control Plus app. If we compare the speed to the 4x4, it is visibly faster, but it won't break any speed records. In this test, I tried to see if the top speed is limited by the Control Plus app, but the cars have a similar top speed, so I guess it is only the acceleration that is limited with the simulated gears. Don't expect a stellar off-road performance. The ground clearance is minimal and there's not much power available. This means you can drive through carpets if you have enough momentum, but that's pretty much all. Here's a little test to show you that the differential is actually useful. The white car with the differential has smaller turning radius and it turns faster. Here is a comparison how the car would look like with the same wheels at the front and at the back. With the smaller tires it looks funny, the gap is too big above the rear wheels. With the fat tires the look is better, but unfortunately the wheels would touch the surrounding parts and they would block them, so there was a reason why the different sized wheels were used. So how to sum it up? On the plus side, this is the first non-offroader car in many years that is fully RC out of the box. It is small and light enough to have an acceptable speed indoors on smooth surfaces. It has a good looking and polished app with multiple control options, a simulated transmission and a lot of challenges to complete. On the other hand, I think the set is way overpriced if we consider what it offers at the moment. Just go and check out what RC cars you can get for 130 euros. Yes, I know LEGO offers a great build experience and less customization and everything like that. The problem is that this set does not really offer it. The build is very simple, it's really kept at the bare minimum. Without stickers the car looks very empty and stupid. The Top Gear license does not add anything and the car has no any connection to the brand. It feels like LEGO made a generic car and then they tried to spice it up with the Top Gear license. My biggest problem is still that there's no official control solution from LEGO if you want to upgrade, modify or rebuild the car to something else. You want to add the light? Well, bad luck, the Control Plus app will refuse to connect. Want to try the new 3.0 version of the powered up app? Well, bad luck again, steering is still not supported properly and you would need to have some visual programming experience to configure the controls anyway. Obviously there are third-party solutions saving the day like the great Brick Controller 2 app, but that's not something you would expect if you pay 130 euros for the set. We still don't know the official pricing of the hub and the motors, but on Bricklink you can get this pack for around 60 euros. This means the rest of the set is supposed to worth 70 euros, and I'm not sure that is the case. For example, you can get the Corvette for 40 euros already, and it has a higher piece count, and for 70 euros you can get the big rally car and use the same electronic parts to motorize it. If the price drops below 100 euros, then this will be a good powered up starter pack for custom RC Technic builds, but until that it is only recommended if you really like the look or you are a hardcore stick fan. Please share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. You can also subscribe and tap the notification bell if you want to see more Technic reviews and other LEGO RC videos. See you next time, bye bye!